Today's workshop, again, we're going over React. So this is our third workshop out of the 6. And so first, we're just gonna go over a quick recap of what we covered from previous high schools, like HTML and CSS and JavaScript. So since we kind of breezed past a little bit of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, we're just gonna do a quick review of it. So as you can see, we have just like some basic HTML tags in this photo. We just covered the image, for example, where you have like SRT, which is where your image is located, where the file is located. And then we have our A tag, which is for links. So you have like where you have like a for what your link is for your A tag, and then we also have H1, which is page header. And then you can see like some examples of what they look like on the side over here. And then we also have forms, which is can include inputs, which are essentially like text boxes that you can type text. So and then we have a div wrap all the HTML elements. And this is especially important when you're styling. This is for organization purposes for your code. But that's just like a quick overview. If you guys still have any questions, you can look through the HTML slides again or the page for HTML. And then to quickly go over CSS again, the difference between class and ID, I just have a basic div and then 2 paragraph class. And this is just to showcase how for example, the class, we have class equals red. And then you can see how the 2 p tags of the class equals red, the text will be red on this side. And then for the one in the middle without the class as red, it's black. So essentially for classes in CSS, it allows you to style multiple elements the same way. So as you can see here, you do like a dot operator, and then you do the class name, which here is red, and then in color is the text red. And then for the div, we made it an ID, which is because we use IDs only for unique HTML elements. So here we just have our one div as we just name the header. But you can also name the container or something to just wrap all of the HTML elements. And then we just styled it with a clock family of calorie, which is a font name. So again, if you guys have any questions about CSS, you can again just look at the slides and the textbook pages. And then for arrow functions, again, we covered it a little quickly last time in the JavaScript workshop. So I'll just go over the general structure again of what an arrow function will look like. So we declare the arrow function with let, and then we have a function name. So for this one, we just got arrow function. And then we initialize it with an equal sign. And then we have parameters inside and some arguments that can change. And then we just have an arrow directed to the function body, which is inside the brackets. So in the second image, we kind of break down how we can turn a regular function into an arrow function or function add to. So in that function, we have one parameter, which is num, so it's like a number of allocation. And then it would return, essentially add 2 to that number, so it was 4, you give it 4, and then return 6. And then we change it to the arrow function syntax by just using the same general structure. We have let adds 2, and then equal sign, and then we add parameters, we find the parentheses, and then use the arrow and add the function body in there. And then you can simplify it further. But for JavaScript, you can also omit the return and just add it now plus 2 with that equal one. And then you can finally just simplify it. If you have only one line, you don't need to brackets as well. And then the last thing we're just going to quickly cover is DOM. So we covered this a little bit at the end of our JavaScript workshop, but the DOM is essentially a tree structure for web pages, and all the HTML elements that we discussed are essentially nodes in this tree. And then JavaScript essentially works by interacting with this DOM to like change any elements. Like we can like add elements, we can edit them or delete them. But you don't need to know too much about it. It's just like the basis for your web page, like what it does under the hood. This is just like an example of a piece of your end. Again, there's like elements that we've done before, like the H5, like the H1. But now I'm gonna just pass it off to Sharvi for an intro to React and
Next
JS.
station, Executive Drive.
So, can everyone hear me? Good. Okay. So what is React? React is a JavaScript framework that is used to build user interfaces. So this is just like your front end. There's a lot of good things about React which makes it super popular. For example, you can create components and reuse them over and over again. And these components are then composed together to be able to make a complex application. JavaScript, React also uses JSX. It has routers. It uses a visual DOM, which makes creating websites and web applications super easy. The next thing that we're looking at is Next.js. Next.js is built on top of React. It's also open source, a JavaScript framework, and it gives us a lot of tools to be able to easily create a production-ready web app. There's a bunch of good things about it as well. We can, there's routing features. We can also actually put API routes in it, which makes it like easier for you to connect your like front end with your back end. There's file system-based routing. You'll see too, there's obviously going to be a pages directory within the initialize next app, which is super helpful. The next thing. The next thing is JSX. It extends JavaScript to allow HTML-like elements to be created. That's super important to note that JSX is very different from HTML. HTML is a markdown language, while JSX is the extension of JavaScript, right? JSX elements are transformed into JavaScript function calls, while HTML elements are rendered as DOM nodes, as well as talked about, right, on the DOM tree. It describes the look of the UI and then modifies the actual DOM to render your components as you want them to. You can put variables and other JavaScript expressions inside React elements using these curly braces right here. You can't do something similar in plain HTML, which makes using JSX useful. HTML is stack-based. External components are into the head. As we make the nav part of the right, and we can go into the tags. You cannot reuse them. So once you make a body and you try to decide to like have the same component, let's say you make like a card or a box, right, using HTML, you can't just reuse it or recon it. That's what makes React and JSX super useful because it allows you to reuse what you've written before. That's what it means to be component-based. You can import existing components into a different component and then keep like reusing them as much as you want. And this is all going to be super clear when you start like making the actual application. So yeah, that's how you import CSS this element, each component can return only one DOM element, so this is going to be one node on your DOM tree. And this is really okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to ask you to go to this repository. I can show you right now how to do that. Okay, so open up your terminals and then this, hold on.
Can open on it here. It's, I don't know what the base is. So, okay, here, open here. Open a terminal in here and then go from here. I'll zoom in a little bit.
Can everyone see or read the words that I have you cannot, and then we can zoom it in. Okay, so we go up here, new terminal. Then you're gonna, can everyone hear me? I cannot like hold this mic, so I'm just gonna scream. So the first thing you want to do is you say git remote add upstream, and then go back to the slides, and then you should be able to see this link, and then we just want to copy that link over and out here. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to fetch whatever we're latching onto.
Okay, so remember the repository for time, and we will look down here. So we need to be there.
Before this, just go on their existing project and then get remote apps. They make sure they're on main. I don't know.
So you already have. Not, but for now, it's fine. Let me just do one. Anyone here? Yes.
So, okay, if everyone is done or almost done, the first step, the next thing that we're gonna do after latching on to this repository, we're gonna fetch, um, so you can type what I'm typing. It's also in the slide, but git fetch upstream. And then you should see something like this. If it's doing that, then you're fine. Now, if you guys are done, like, give me a thumbs up. No, okay. But maybe I'm gonna tell you now. Yeah. Okay, so now that you've fetched everything, we're gonna merge it into we're gonna merge it with part 3. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna type git merge ups. Git merge upstream slash part 3. Dog, what? Should look something like that. If you have that, then you should see a client directory in Explorer. Go in there. Once you've merged and you're inside the client directory, the next thing you're gonna do is install all dependencies that we need. To do that, you can run npm install. Npm install and then enter. You should see something like that. Let me make it bigger. There you go. No one's listening to me. Not like that, right? Is it doesn't like I can't like I stalk and like it's not loud. Because it's down. How do I do that? Oh, I just like take some piece of it off. Like take it, fold it up a little bit, and then clip it. Hello, hello. I can just scream, dog. Yeah. You're not installing. I can come up.
You know, let's make some time. People who thought on it, we could do it. I think it was-
Okay.
Maybe 2008.
Okay. All right, now that everyone's in the client. Now that everyone's in the inside client, we're gonna start building our homepage. To do that, this is gonna be an activity, the first activity, guys. So you're gonna go inside the client, SRC pages, and then index.js, to do a bunch of CDs and like get to this this file. And then we can try to convert the learn and read it. Kind of figure that out. You're gonna need one top-level div, a heading, a heading tag, that's gonna be like the name title, and then a paragraph, to write extra stuff, and then an image tag, you can put any image you like, you can put like a picture of the dog. Sorry, I think I need to that. Okay, so now we're gonna start building an application. To do that, the first thing you're gonna do is CD into client, CD into SRC, CD into pages, and then index.js. That's the file we're gonna be editing. This is our first activity, so we ask you to start with the whole page with one top color there. That's gonna be everything. And then within that, you add a heading, a paragraph, and an image. It should be just whatever image you want. And that's all we're having. You can start it. So we take 15 minutes or so to do that, and then.
Some people's images aren't loading, and I'm like,
Huh? I saw some people loading their cache as well.
yeah, but their path was right. That's why I think some people are importing, but some people are just putting it straight into there. And the ones who put it straight in there don't work.
Oh, that's how it looks. Maybe they'll have to look at. We should have put it.
Yeah.
Okay, should I like?
I need some kind of like demo what it could look like.
I demoed the bullet.
You just demo the whole like this and then the CSS.
Okay.
Yeah.
The CSS.
Yeah. You would like just like go over because like, it's not that much CSS. It's just like I just
Oh,
installed like
okay.
a welcome.
Okay, okay. Where's the CSS?
It should be in the home dot
Okay.
in like style in the style.
Okay, so is that the next activity?
No, I mean we were just gonna do it together because like I guess
Oh, okay. After I
like
explain the CSS
she's
version.
like, oh yeah, we're just like we just assumed they were style.
Oh,
Like we just assumed they were.
ooh, okay, okay.
And then, or you could explain the module and then style it because I think that would help.
Yeah, I think I should do that.
Okay.
Okay. She came to, sorry, I told her that I'm having a workshop So she should come, but I told her it's at 6. It's 5:53. She's going home. I'm gonna steal. I'm gonna steal dinner.
I didn't hear you. What?
I'm gonna steal dinner for her.
Oh,
That's such a good roommate.
yeah.
I've been going home for the last week.
You didn't sleep in the basement?
No.
Oh. Yeah, you can sleep.
Look amazing. So she was like, if you don't come home tonight, I'll be like, be so mad. She was like threatening me, and I was like, okay.
So that's some gossip.
He, what's wrong with that? Anything wrong with that?
Okay, yeah.
Huh?
Are you gonna go to the system?
Yeah, I was gonna do module, like the slide for and then go back to the. Okay. You can look at from this.
Yeah.
All right, we've done. Let's show of hands for whoever, time. We have 2 minutes and.
That's six.
Hello everyone. Okay, we're gonna demo how to finish this exercise. If you guys have your eyes on the slides. So this is what it should have looked like if you run it. Also, why not? I should have told you how to do it. If you have run it, you can run your application. But yeah, if you were able to run it, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's go ahead and start. Sorry, Angela. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is go in source, which is SRC, then pages, and then we went into index.js X right here. And this is what you should have seen. Okay. This is what you should have seen. And then we're gonna start writing this. Okay. Can everyone see everything? If I make it a little bit smaller. Okay. Okay, cool. Can everyone also hear me? Or should I scream more? Okay. I should scream more. I don't know. Mic. I just hold it. Okay, so the first thing we asked you was to create a container. So to do that, we had a H1 tag here. We're going to delete that real quick. Replace the heading, and then you make your H2. This is the same as a normal like HTML heading that you created and replaced hello world with.
Oh.
The next thing is to add the paragraph. Just gonna add it real quick. Okay. Okay, so this is pretty much what the more stuff that I type really slowly. And then so that's your heading and that's your subheading or I guess instructions. And then the next thing that you're gonna do is add an image. So adding an image is a little bit different. Because we did it in HTML, very obvious, or the class, and then it shows up. But here you're gonna import it at the top of the page. So I'll show you how to do that because I saw much people were having a little bit of trouble. So you would want to import your picture first. To do that, you say a very similar like import statement. So you say import. You can call this whatever you like. So ACM logo from, and then your path. So if you look at the Explorer, your picture is going to be inside the assets. So you want to go up 2 levels. So you say dot dot slash, and then assets slash ACM logo dot PNG. And now you can use an image tag to actually import it inside this div where we're styling the picture. To do that, you can say div. Well, actually, no. Never mind. You can make an image tag. And then in the first half of the image tag is where you put the path to the actual picture. So you say src equals, and then ACM logo. I don't know if everyone remembers. Very much in the GSX slide, we said that you didn't put like transfer to these braces. That's what we're doing. We're importing a picture from that location, and then we want to put it in with the braces. And then the next thing that you do is you can add like height and width and stuff like that. So let's say we want the height to be 200 and the width to also be 200 because it's a square picture. So you say height equals like 200, and then width equal maybe also 200. You can choose if you want a giant picture, go for it. And then you can add alt text, so like sometimes when your internet is not or something, and then things don't work, it like shows you the alt text. So I'm just gonna say ACM logo. And that's pretty much it. That is our home page. Now, how do you run it? Which I didn't tell you how to do before, but now I am telling you how to do that. You open up your terminal, and then you type npm run dev, then you hit enter, and then it does a bunch of things. Now it tells you, oh, go to localhost 3000. So you go to localhost 3000. Oh, what's going on? Sorry about that.
Oh wait. Oh, it's because I think your image, like the path was a little wrong.
My path.
Or like I think it's the lowercase f.
Oh, rip. Sorry, typo, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna do this again. Okay. We will try that again. When it works. Okay.
Give us syntax error. Oh, yeah, just, yeah, don't, yeah, just, yeah.
This is how you can debug it if you ever have to debug it. I'm gonna die. Okay. Run 3. This time it's gonna work, I swear. Okay. Let's go.
Okay, maybe it was a little, uppercase, so.
Okay, it was okay.
Was, or just go into this assets folder.
No, it's a lowercase lowercase. Did I spell it wrong? No, I didn't. SRCACM logo. Um, picture. It's literally the same.
Yeah, it's right.
Okay, so it seems like you want to put width before height. So make sure you do that. So yeah, that's how you import a picture. It's slightly different from how we did it in HTML. You would want to import the picture like up there. And then use this image margin instead of the little img down to display the picture. All right. So yeah. So that's what we have. Now, I don't know if you know this, but when you put the image like towards the side of the page, so now we're going to style it. And the way we're going to do that is using CSS. When you have a bunch of CSS, let's say you have a giant project, right? And if you have like a ton of CSS in it, sometimes it will like cancel out each other's effects and you'll have like a huge mess. That's why we use our CSS, where the class names are scoped locally, and this wouldn't like override something we did in like some random folder. You're like the higher the ones that cancel it out. So to do that, if you could go back to your project, and then we're gonna navigate to our styles. This is where all the styles are located. Within styles, we're gonna go to home.margin.css. With that, our home component, this file has like the same name as our component. Home.margin.css, because it's gonna be applied to that module. So now we're gonna try and style it. Hold on. Okay. So the first thing we're gonna do is use Flexbox to center the picture. So you can use justify content, and then which one you would choose? Center it. Just center it, and then let's try that.
I can open that for sure.
Oh, thank you. Wow, I cannot use that. But as you can see, we
What are you gonna do?
So now the picture is completed. What this did was it applied the dot image CSS. This one here, I'm sorry. apply our style for one image. The image itself, if you look at index.jsx, we have styles.image applied to the picture that these are two pictures. So yeah, you can add for every class name that you like for every class that you make, you can add specific CSS for it. You can't really have a global except this first global.css file. You can't really make a lot of those. You need to use these instead. And yeah, you can feel free to like add things and change things if you want to make your picture align differently, or if you want to add backgrounds, padding, you can feel free to do that to this file. But that was all about modular CSS. I'm gonna pass it over back to Angela to talk about components, which is like the coolest thing about React. So I hope you guys have fun.
Oh. No, wait. Oh wait, you can hide it.
Did your homework get like getting disappeared?
My homework?
Your scraper dot whatever that was. Oh, that's not the
Okay. Okay. So now I'm gonna go over components, but just to pause, do you guys have any questions about JSX? Or anything from the activities that like you really want answered? Yeah, I'll take that as a no. Okay, so I'm just gonna be going over just simply this React components first. So components are essentially like parts of a web application that you can reuse. And they're also independent, so they have their own state. So you can just think of state as the data that a component like has, and like if there's any changes to the component's data, then it will be specific to that component. So for example, like if you had a button component and you like wanted to keep track of how many times you click that button, then you would have like a state that's like number of times you click. And so that's like one example. Like the main thing with components that makes it really useful is just that again it's like very reusable. For example, like if you had multiple cards that you want to with, like for example, like we're gonna go through as an example of Spotify, where if you have like a lot of different music like songs, you can have like different components to play like song name and like lyrics, like the artist name, things like that. So we're just gonna go through a quick demo of components. And I'm just gonna go onto Spotify, and then you guys can point out, each table can like point out maybe like one component that they see. As you can see, I don't have Spotify on my laptop because I'm a YouTube music user. So yeah, you can even see it on like the bottom. Yeah. But like, just for this example, I will pull out Spotify for the first time in my life. So, I just want to like, you guys can raise your hands, like point out some of the components. So like examples, I'll give you one for now, like now, like that's all components.
The top bar, inside and lobby.
Yep, I think that'll be part of like the now part, probably, but yeah. And then, any other components that you guys need? Yeah, the sidewalk, so yeah, you see how like, there's like home, search, your library, they probably use like the same component of like create your first playlist, and like, you see like the box surrounding it, it was very similar, so they probably just use the same component and then just change the thing and put like the. And then, but like the one like main model is component from like the middle.
The banner at the bottom, where you just sign up.
Okay, yeah, and then there's like just like put everything, where you can like sign up. It's probably gonna sign up while. I'm not signing up. So the images. So I would say like the images would be considered like a component, as you can see from like the next data, like we have image components. But I would say like one component would just be like just wrapping this entire like image and like the text of the song and then the artist. So I could just be like one part of the component. And then they like keep using it multiple times and mapping it throughout the whole website. So that was just like a quick demo of how components work on just like example for this website, and then going back, we'll go into more specifics about functional components. But are there any questions about components in general in React? Yeah. Like what do you mean by overlap? Well, that would be more like how you would style the component, like, but like generally components are supposed to be independent, as in like whatever happens to one component, you wouldn't affect other components. So it's like when you're styling components, you can sort of, that's more of a, like a CSS thing, I think. Okay, that is no other questions. So the main component that you'll see when you're using React is functional components. So in the past, people used something called class components that were a lot more convoluted since they were stateful. So they had state and then they have like life cycles, like stuff like component did now, component did amount. Generally like how the page would respond to any changes in the state and things like that. So it's a lot more messy, a lot harder to manage. So generally in the standard is now to use functional components since they're stateless. They just like take in some data and then they will display it on the UI. So for example, like in this example on the right, you have prompts, which you can just think of it as data that the component will accept for now, and we'll cover prompts more in detail a little later. And in this example, we just have a button component that takes in prompts, takes in like the name for the prompt for the button that will like display on the button, and then it'll pass it into the DOM, which is again like the what makes up a website is that from the back. So one example of the functional component is that home page that you were working on for the first activity. So the home page component was just displayed for the whole app, since right now the app just has the home page, the one component. And then I'm just gonna go over just like one example of a simple functional component with a sentence. So we have this one sentence component, and it's returning an HQ or an header tag that's like, are you excited to learn React? And then remember, you have to export every component that you use, so we can import it in like a parent component. So it's going to be kind of like a child component since we'll be using it in a paragraph component. I'll go over more like about next week in the next slide, but essentially in our paragraph component, we're wrapping everything into one div, which is a container. As we learned before, you can only have return one element in React. So we have just like 3 sentence components, and then you can just see like example of what that would look like over here. They just repeat the sentence like 3 times. So we're just be using the component. There's like no changes in like what the sentence is, because like we're not using prompts, which are like the arguments or data that you would pass in to make it different. So I'm just gonna on the sides, I have a React Playground demo. So this is essentially just a website that you can go online, and then you can just see an example of what it looks like without having to like open Visual Studio Code and like type it all out. But you can see how we have our sentence component in the sentence component.jsx file.
And then you can see on the bottom right, it's already like displayed on the website. And then again, you just see like how we have in our paragraph.jsx, we have to import the sentence component first from the sentence component.jsx files to be able to use it. And then I just like populated it 3 times because one thing I found out is React Playground, you can only use 8 lines of code before it makes you pay for the pro version. So even if you wanted to type out more sentence components, it'll probably give you an error message and tell you to pay up. But like just for this example, I'll just like delete one because I guess I'll have less code. But as you can see, we're just like reusing this one sentence component and then it's like being wrapped in this paragraph component. And then how I display the paragraph component is in the app.jsx file, which is like the JSX file for this entire like web application. And then again, I just like import it by saying like the component name and then like the file name. I just added it inside. So yeah, that was like a very simple this example of functional components. And then again, like I think this image is pretty self-explanatory. Again, like you just have a paragraph component that like wraps and like has multiple sentence components. Because like if you think about like more complex components like a card component that you'll be working on later, like you'll have like different properties like the name of I don't know, like the name of the artist, for example, if you use Spotify, or like the song name and then like the genre, things like that. So you'll have like multiple properties inside this one component and then you can like put it in a bigger component. It's like, yeah. So are there any questions about functional components? So now we're gonna move on to an activity where you'll be making the navbar component. Since the navbar is commonly used in all the pages for your website. So that's just like showing off how you can use components, like reuse them basically. So these are just some of the instructions, but you'll be using like a functional component and the arrow function syntax. And for your navbar, you'll be linking to the home page, the game page, and the history page. And you're gonna be using the Next.js component. So this is very similar to the A tag, like how you do it in HTML. But you can look through the documentation on how it should look like if you go on the slides and click on this link. Yeah, it's like very similar to A tag, so you shouldn't like have too many problems. And then for the styling, you just like follow the comments that we have to like produce this navbar, but you can also like change up the styling if you want it to look more custom made for your website. So let me just show you an example. Also, I realized, why is there 2 VS codes open? Okay. So you would go into your components folder, and then you can see here we have navbar components. And then inside the navbar.jsx file, we gave you some starter code and some comments to teach you how to like just make the navbar. But again, just like in activity 1, you'll just be like filling out all like the code to like how to like link to the net homepage and like how to link to the other pages. So you guys can get started, and then if you need any help, just like raise your hand for Haskell.
So we want to. So that was the test. So basically, that. It's very yeah. Go back to the page. There you go. So, anyone else here have any questions? Okay. So you can have like all the The idea is we want to do this. And then I think I started to see that. And then go back. Now let's say it's somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, so to say, when you do it. So you see here, kind of like word base.
Okay.
Yeah, so right now, we have like. Yeah, you know, so this right here. No.
Yeah.
So now it's just looking how. It seems like. That's my, that was but now you have. You don't have a style. Yeah. So That's so weird. Yes. And now you try to. And I said, but then we Here. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So we only have 7 minutes left. So I'm just gonna go through how the navbar component could look like on my computer since we're running out of time. So I think there were some questions about first, just like when you import the navbar in your app.jsx file. So the app.jsx file is essentially just all the pages in Next, like it's basically displaying all the pages of Next from like this component here, like this component, and then like it uses something called a spread operator to display all the pages and in this pages folder. So the reason why we're telling you to export the navbar and then just like add it in above the components is just so that on every page your navbar will be displayed. But I'm just gonna go through quickly like how we can use the link component in Next.js to create the navbar. So just the first step is you should import link. So this is the link component that comes with Next.js. Next/link. And then we can use it for our first, just like linking the home page. So we have a link, and then we have href just like in an a tag. And then for Next, they have a pretty good routing system where you can essentially just get the file name from the pages. So for index, it's just a slash because that's supposed to be your home page. So this would link to your home page or your index.jsx file. And then for your other pages, I just chose to wrap it in a div for all the other pages that are going to be used in the navbar. And then I just gave it a class name of nav buttons for the styling. And then again, we just keep using link. But now we would use the file names for the other pages like game history. There's also supposed to be a game page.jsx file, but we forgot to give it in the starter code. So I think I just told some of you to make there's like an empty file here. Game, yeah, like the game page is like which will have our type thinking component. Yeah, we didn't add that into the boilerplate code. So oh.
We won't do the prompts today.
Mm.
Do the next one, so just skip to the prompt slide and then just put the when you're done.
Okay, so okay, so I'm just gonna use like game history, but as you can see, you can just like index, just have the file name directly. You don't need like .jsx. And then just copy this, and then wait, also history. So this would like be what is displayed for the link. And I'll just like copy it and then change it to be for the game page. And then just call it play game. And then we'll just keep it like that for now. And the last step is just you would export your whole navbar component so you can use it in the app.jsx file. So you just do that by doing export default and then navbar. Okay, and then in app.jsx, I think some of you were a little confused on how to approach adding the navbar above in like the app.jsx file. But you would first just like import it. So you can use it in here. And then in VS Code, sometimes like you can just like press enter and then it'll give you the path already. And then since we're gonna have now like two little components in the return statement, you'll just have to use parentheses, and then you'll have a div wrapping everything, because we can only return one DOM element in React. And then you just add the components that they have already here inside the div, and then above that, you add your nav bar. Okay, so let me just go back and show you what it should look like in the local host. Yeah. Oh wait, I spelled next wrong. Okay, so as you can see, it's not styled right now. And I don't think we have necessarily enough time to go through styling, but you can just see how like the links are now displayed on top above all the everything else in the homepage. And then, yeah, that's like the basics of like how you do a nav bar in React. So we can't really get into props since we're at time now, but we'll probably cover it next workshop after we cover Express. But just for this workshop, we have our feedback form as usual. So just give us any feedback on what we can improve on, what we did well. And what? Wait, let me stop.